Metagross is one of the best Pokemon in the entire game, but it starts as Beldum, which sucks. And so the question of which pseudo-legendary can beat FireRed and LeafGreen the quickest is going to be complicated since, unlike my other runs, we're starting in the first form with Beldum. This video is the second of a 4-part series on pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and if you haven't seen the first video, I give more of an introduction to the runs in general, including what a pseudo-legendary Pokemon is. But one thing I will repeat in case you don't want to watch that video is that all these Pokemon level up very slowly, so it could be quite a long while before we see Metagross. Now, since this is a pseudo-legendary Pokemon, eventually Metagross is going to have 600 base stats, but that's not what we're going to have to use in the early game. We're going to have to use our good old Beldum. Beldum only has half the base stats, but that's not the actual problem with using Beldum. I did a run in Emerald that I messed up and would have been possible if I didn't make a slight error, but this time we're going to be able to evolve it. However, if you know me, you know I don't lose a lot of these, especially ones that probably are kind of possible. And the reason why Beldum is so bad is it literally gets one move. And not one move plus TMs, not one move, no, just one move. Takedown. That's it. And Takedown kind of sucks. It's powerful, it's 90 base power, but it misses 15% of the time, and it deals back recoil damage. Plus, as a normal move, it's bad against Brock. Now, you might think, well, while it's bad against Brock, you're a Steel type, so you're going to do kind of well. Surprisingly, it actually mattered less than you'd think. But first, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is a great way to learn back-end web development from start to finish in many languages, including Python, Go, SQL, and many more. One really great aspect of Boot.dev is that while you can do it from the comfort of your own home, there's actually a ton of interactivity that really helps you develop the skills to actually build projects. Today, I actually want to try out something that I've been meaning to for a while, a place called the Training Grounds that selects lessons based on what you've learned so that you can practice your skills as well as gain some experience points, which is great because you know me, love to see numbers go up. Now, the Training Grounds had me refresh my knowledge on lists and indexes, which is great because I'm so busy being a YouTuber, sometimes I don't have time to do it every day, and a refresher is really good. One exercise I really enjoyed was one where I had to explain to Boots what exactly a loop was doing. Another really great thing though about Boot.dev is that if you sign up by clicking my link in the description or pinned comment and use my code JROSE11, you will get 25% off your first plan, and that can be a whole year if you choose the annual plan. Alright, so here's the thing with Brock. Sure, we can use Takedown, but slightly stronger is Struggle. Struggle is 50 base power, so it is just over half, but it isn't resisted by Rock, and due to the way rounding works, it's actually quite a bit better. I didn't actually know that at this point, for the record, and you'll see why that matters, but here you can see that unfortunately, because Geodude is so bulky, unless I get critical hits, which in this generation are just your standard 6.25%, I'm not doing very much, and so I'm taking 2 damage, 1 from attack, 1 from recoil, and only dealing 1. I do make it past Geodude, but Onyx instantly Rock Tombs, and hey, even though I resist it, I am 4 levels lower, and this is where being in the slow level up group really matters. And unfortunately, being stuck on Brock, as you know from watching my videos, really stinks, because there's not a lot of great Pokemon to battle, but it's even kinda worse in FireRed and LeafGreen, because although there are a couple additional trainers in Viridian Forest, there are also way less Metapod or Kakuna, which give more experience points. Of course, in this run, I'm going to fight Rival 1A, and Charmander, even though it should know Ember, doesn't. I figured this out when trying to use a Smeargle. I don't think that run is out or was finished, but that is where I learned that they don't have their elemental moves yet. And so yeah, basically what I would have to do is battle a bunch of random bug Pokemon and then hope I leveled up enough that Brock is better. So now I'm at level 12. Now, one thing that I was starting to have a problem with is potions, because in order to use up Takedown, unlike other moves where I can just use them against Metapod, Takedown deals back recoil damage, and I've run out of money. So actually trying, well, not completely run out of money, but mostly run out of money. And I'm trying to be careful with my money. So the issue I'm running into is in order to get struggle, I have to use potions, but healing is a little better. You can see I have a little bit of money left, but this is another unique issue to pre-Brock. In fact, in FireRed and LeafGreen, once we get to Vermilion, we'll never have to worry about money ever again for the rest of the run. In fact, thinking about it, Red and Blue and Yellow are kind of unique that prior to the Elite Four, there really isn't a great way to get additional money. I mean, there is. I should do a video on this because every game has a method by which you can grind money, but Red and Blue's is by far the most tedious, requiring you to either in Blue version catch a Meowth or surfing and getting, I'm not going to show this footage, but you can trust me, it's there, just south of Lavender Town, the TM for Payday. It is not in FireRed and LeafGreen. This is unique to Red and Blue. It's a different TM in FireRed LeafGreen, and so you can gain money that way. We're not going to have to do that, but unfortunately for us, that isn't even an option here, and so we just kind of have to not run out of money. All this being said, it's not as if struggle is some, oh my gosh, J-Rose, how could you not have figured it out? Now you can see I'm not at full health here, but it's doing only marginally more than Takedown, albeit I did actually knock out the Geodude while I was at like 13 HP, so perhaps maybe it's doing a little bit more than marginally more. And in fact, right after I lost this battle, I decided to use Takedown, and good news, bad news here. The good news is we got unbelievably close to beating Brock. The bad news is if I actually had struggle, we probably would have won. So I take back what I just said. I doubted struggle initially in the playthrough, then came to realize how good it was, and I even accepted it in the voiceover and then doubted it for a second. Seems like I have very inconsistent opinions of struggle. But yeah, unfortunately, getting it is just a pain. But we were able to do that and make sure that we had enough HP for Brock. I also leveled up just a little bit more. And finally, at level 15, 3 levels higher than Brock, using struggle and getting some pretty decent luck, I was able to get by Brock's rock Pokemon. Actually, I had 13 HP to spare, which is kind of crazy. But maybe I over-leveled a little bit. Oops. It's not going, I mean, it matters a little bit, but as you're going to see, this is not the only place Beldum is going to struggle. But one thing that's kind of great is that we don't have to use Beldum for much longer. Oh, did I forget to save here? Well, good news, guys. I battled Brock again, and turns out this time I had 9 HP remaining. For the record, this is actually really important. I believe why level 15 was important is that it rounded down for some moves. And this is important because that stacks. So if a move hypothetically is doing 2 every time, and now it's doing 1 every time, you're taking half damage. So it looks like you're over leveling, but in fact, you're just taking 1 less. Pokemon is never that simple. It's always like minimums and maximums, but yeah, anyway, we're 2 for 2 versus Brock. But skipping ahead a little bit, we're actually going to battle some trainers in Mount Moon, because by the time I leave Mount Moon, I want to have a Metang. And I actually used the rare candy I got in Mount Moon. And now it's time to talk about our first decent Pokemon, Metang. So Metang has 120 base stats more than Beldum, which is great. And Metang instantly will get 2 useful moves. Confusion, a special move. We don't have great special attack. And Metal Claw, a physical move. Pretty good. We also get a whole bunch of TM moves that we don't have access to right now, but we might. One move we don't have access to, funny enough, and I actually didn't realize this, I'll just show you. You would assume it had 2 giant hands that Mega Punch would be great, but no. It can't learn Mega Punch. It has 2 massive arms. What? Anyway, you might assume now that we have a Metang that everything is going to be easy. And you would be somewhat correct. We can actually use Rock Tomb against Pidgeotto. And thankfully it didn't use Sand Attack. Right? Wrong. You're very wrong. Because Metang, in fact, the whole Metagross line, has Clear Body. So it's not affected by Intimidate or stat-lowering moves. It is, though, super affected by Ember. And recall that in FireRed and LeafGreen, that Pokemon do not come out in the same order between runs. Charmander came out next because it's the best, I guess, that the AI judged. I don't really know the exact algorithm, but it's just good, super effective, it makes sense. and it actually outsped, but Rock Tomb thankfully hit, and the crit actually didn't matter. I could have knocked it out with the confusion afterwards. And see, now it goes for Rattata, which is kind of weak, and then Abra, which is super weak. So that's how trainers will work, and that's interesting and a huge difference from red, blue, and yellow, where the order is always set in stone, and we can just judge for that. Here, I actually sometimes get surprised at what Pokemon is coming out next my first time doing battles. And as you can see right now, Metang is doing pretty good. A huge advantage it has over Pupitar, by the way, are twofold. One, it evolved much, much earlier. And two, Steel is far less, well, frail than Rock Ground, which all you need is a water or grass move and you're done. For our good old Metang, it's kind of cool. Even against fire Pokemon like Charmander, they're often not good enough at this point to really be a threat. Heck, even Misty, after I did routes 24 and 25, I didn't think would be so tough. I do have to use Takedown again because, well, I have better physical attack and Starmie is going to resist my psychic moves. And in fact, Starmie, ooh, actually, that's pretty good. See, I gotta go for Rock Tomb. Yeah, we gotta go Rock Tomb. That's okay. I actually saved outside the gym just in case this was a mistake, but it wasn't. I could definitely do this. I just need to do this in slightly different order. I get a miss versus Staryu, which really sucks, but not the end of the world, because I'm going to go Confusion and Confusion to knock it out, and it still didn't damage me. So I'm actually at full HP, unlike last time. And then I go for Rock Tomb, I hit, and then Takedown. I don't know if Starmie heals. It confused me, and that's okay. I had the Oran Berry also just in case, and that actually may have mattered if I hit myself in Confusion, but it didn't. I'm a little disappointed it took 2 tries. However, the truth of the matter was, I actually used strategy. It wasn't just brute force, and I didn't quite know how much damage I would do or when Misty would heal. But this is a big reason why Fire and Leaf Green are so fun to do these runs in. They're a little bit more strategic and a little bit more, I would say, modern than Red and Blue. Trust me, I love Red and Blue, but I'm not disappointed I'm going to start doing these runs in Fire and Leaf Green. Maybe I'll do some in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. I don't know. Would you want to see that? Not sure yet. By the time we get to Rival 3, we're at level 25, and we have Brick Break, but I haven't taught it yet. Again, not really worried about Pidgeotto. Metal Claw also has a 10% chance of boosting our attack. Here's a big one. All right, we do hit, and we actually outsped, and we don't get burned, which is nice. We can Confusion to knock out Charmeleon, and then Raticate, I just go for a Metal Claw. I actually get a crit, and then Kadabra can do nothing to me because, well, it's a Psychic type against Steel and Psychic. That is a terrible, terrible matchup, as great as Kadabra is. All right, just one more tough trainer in this section of the game, Lieutenant Surge. We didn't have to skip anyone, which is nice. I have to go Takedown again because Electric also resists Steel, but it hits me with a Shockwave first, which isn't good. Now, against Pikachu, I was a little worried about Static, so what I decided to do is go for Rock Tomb. There was a 20% chance to miss, but we were okay. The problem was Raichu. So I tried to get Raichu to slow down, but unfortunately if it goes for Thunder Wave, I'm kind of in trouble. Now, in theory, if I'd actually just gone Takedown, we would have been fine, but Rock Tomb Takedown isn't enough, and sadly, I am knocked out. And then I make actually kind of a weird mistake where I don't know why I just didn't go Takedown. I get much worse luck versus Voltorb. For whatever reason, I just didn't put it together that against Raichu, I want to go Takedown, and Surge wouldn't heal. It's kind of one of those things that I got in tunnel vision, and even though I'm live streaming and people are there, it's kind of interesting how with a smaller chat, sometimes my tunnel vision becomes chat's tunnel vision. This actually took me a few attempts. I'm not really sure how many, and I'm a little embarrassed how many it took because the strategies I'm using are so silly. I don't want to use the excuse I was still kind of sick. I was. Like, it took me forever to get better, and this was like the first time I'd streamed since. But yeah, I don't get why I did what I did. It makes no sense. Like, I'm watching this back. I'm not sure what I'm thinking, but this time it worked, and yay. Like, I was able to manipulate the health, and maybe Takedown wasn't enough, but surely it looks like it would be. Anywho, a win's a win, and we'll chalk that up to, I don't know, deliriousness or something. I don't know. Regardless, it doesn't impact the in-game timer, which is all we use. And that's why I use in-game timer, because I can always count on myself to make some mind-bogglingly weird decision at some point in some of these runs, and now the Pokemon isn't punished for me being, well, me. Now, thankfully, there was nothing difficult from now until Celadon, but I will take a moment to tell you that in Rock Tunnel and Fire and Leaf Green, you can get the Move Tutor move for Rock Slide. Although it doesn't lower speed, it is 50% more powerful than Rock Tomb, and it is, I think it's 12.5% more accurate, right? That would be 10, right? I think that's how math works. I'm not great at mental math. This is why I could never truly copy Adef, because he's actually really good at math. And actually, funny enough, I did really well at math in school, but that's when I had like a pencil and paper and a calculator. If you just put me in front of a screen and I forget all of it, like I was trying to do some basic trigonometry puzzles just because I used to love doing those. And it was like looking at a foreign language. I was so embarrassed because like grade 11 me would laugh at like, well, I don't want to say how old I am, me, and be like, haha, you got old and you forgot math and a lot of other things. I was gonna say leveling up is not like Pokemon in that you don't get stronger, but I guess you do get more experience and you forget some moves for different ones. So actually, it's a lot like Pokemon. What a great analogy. I'm so wisdomous. I'd love to tell you I was bad at writing, but I actually wasn't. I did a philosophy major and I had to write all the time. Do you guys know that? I actually have a master's in philosophy. Do you guys know, behind the scenes, this is definitely true. I very much, prior to doing this solo series, not, well, actually this series, but the red and blue one, I was actually going to go for my PhD in philosophy. There is an alternate universe where I do both, which would have been terrible, but you could have had a Dr. J-Rose. I should do that at some point, and that way you could like separate myself from the other YouTubers. Like, oh, you have 1 million subscribers, but are you a doctor? I mean, not like a medical doctor, but like, I know really niche things about the theories of knowledge, you see. All right, the rambling's starting to get a little out of hand. Let's just move on. All right, so now we're in Celadon, and as is common in my runs, I'm gonna go battle Giovanni number 1 first. I almost called him Geo2. Now, it's at this point in real life I have released the Tyranitar video, and I'm wondering at this point, based on a lot of your comments, you thought Beldum would be so awful. Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Because we've been using Metang now for a significant portion of the run, and Metang is pretty darn good. Against Giovanni, we're going to, against his Onix, go for Metal Claw, and it does one-shot, albeit the crit probably mattered. Kangaskhan comes out next. I'm actually going to flinch first, and then get hit by Bite, which is a crit. Ooh, actually, that wasn't really good. I'm gonna try, ooh, there we go, raising my attack, and then Mega Punch misses, and now Bite, ah, darn. Well, I did lose. I can teach Brick Break. Let me try that. All right, take 2, but this time with Brick Break, and you'll see that Metal Claw does not one-shot. Rage is useless. I don't actually have a potion, and I'd prefer not to leave and come back. It's a lot more annoying in Generation 3. Brick Break, as you see, ooh, it doesn't quite do half. So I'm going to go for one last Metal Claw, try to get that 10% boost. After I level up here, I don't need Pursuit whatsoever. Actually, Rhyhorn can't really do much to me. I'm going to go Brick Break. And then, although it can theoretically miss, I went for Metal Claw. Cool. I can't believe that took 2 tries, but that's okay. Anywho, we're going to skip a little bit ahead, and the next thing I do is go to battle rival number 4. We have Rock Slide for Pidgeotto, and we hit, and it one-shots. Nice. Now, Charmeleon comes out next, and Rock Slide, Outspeed one-shot. Pretty good. Gyarados, we can't get intimidated, so we Rock Slide and don't one-shot. But it goes for Thrash. It's at this point, as I knock out Gyarados, I should mention that my Metang, see, this is Generation 3, meaning natures are a thing, and my Metang has a plus speed nature, and I have been buying Carbos. Because ultimately, Metagross is very good at attack, where it can struggle is being outsped. So if I invest as much in speed as possible, I limit the chance of being outsped by trainers that are really tough. That said, we're not a Metagross yet, and the level 30 Marowak, you don't really ever think of this thing. I can't do much damage to it, and look at this. Bone Meringue one-shots me. I mean, yes, it went for focus energy turn 1, so it got that crit, but yikes. That's a wild Pokemon. And that wasn't the only time I lost to it. It beat me a second time. That said, it is still a wild Pokemon, meaning it attacks randomly, so I was able to win the third time. But yeah, that's kind of a bad sign. However, it's at this point, we are almost done everything we need to do. There's one more trainer we need to beat, and she shouldn't be too difficult. Of course, we're talking about Erica. So Erica leads with Victory Bell. I don't have Psychic yet. I mean, I could get it. Confusion almost one-shots, and Stun Spore misses. Now, again, I could have gone Psychic from Mr. Psychic, and perhaps I should have, but it wasn't that bad. Tangela, it can't really do that much to me. It goes for Ingrain. It doesn't actually do anything to me. We knock it out with Confusion. And finally, with Vileplume, do we? Yeah, we are going to get that critical hit to one-shot. So, yeah, that was pretty easy. The next gym should also be not too bad, and that is Koga. And if you wonder why I'm not getting the Psychic TM, I just don't want to teach too early and then realize, oh, if only I still had that TM, everything would be fine. All right, now getting to the battle itself, so I'm still going to have Confusion. It doesn't one-shot Coughing, and what? Yo, okay, crazy thing right there. I said what in the voiceover the same way I said it live. That was actually really freaky. You could have synced that up. That was nuts, because I do watch these back as I narrate. That was pretty freaky. Anyway, we survive a second self-destruct. And so, funny enough, I get Psychic here via level up, which I'm going to use. The problem is, even Tackle should knock me out at this point, but potentially... Yeah, Tackle does knock me out. Potentially, if we just equipped a berry, we'd be okay. However, even better is that we just one-shot Coughing, and then we don't have to worry. I mean, Muck could be really annoying this time, but it can't really hit me with anything. So although it's very long and very tedious, tick-tock, tick-tock, I do beat Muck, and then Coughing does go self-destruct, but now that I have more than enough HP, Wheezing can't do very much to me. Unlike in Generation 1, the final Pokemon in FireRed LeafGreen, to my knowledge, will never go for self-destruct or explosion, which is lucky because that would actually beat me. Although, you know, technically if they went by the same rules we went by, it wouldn't, but regardless, that is 5 gym badges. Next we have Rival Fivel, I guess. I don't know, I usually save that for red and blue. Pidgeot goes for Wing Attack. I go for Rock Slide. It's not one-shotting, but I have plenty of HP remaining, so far so good. I'm at 83 HP. Charizard goes for Flamethrower. All right, so there is a way I can easily win here. I'm going to level up a little bit and heal, but I have an idea of something I could do. I think y'all know what I'm going to do. We've been doing this in a lot of the FireRed LeafGreen runs because it works so darn well. It's Mimic for FireRed and LeafGreen, introducing Substitute. Even without leftovers, because Pidgeot can't really do that much to me, I can go behind it. I go for Metal Claw, trying to get an attack boost. Ooh, that actually doesn't knock it out. Good. I wanted to make sure I was behind a Substitute because now, yes, Flamethrower is very, very bad, but Substitute, no, are you kidding me? Okay, well, let's just try that again. But that's annoying, 10% mischance. All right, so we go behind a Substitute. As I was saying, it just knocks out the Substitute, and in theory, I could even get a Metal Claw boost. So it's 2 Metal Claws plus a Rock Slide to knock out Pidgeot, and I stay behind the Substitute, which is important. Obviously, Flamethrower is going to destroy it, but if I hit, we one-shot. Well, of course we one-shot. It's double super effective. And now we're at level 40. We're only 10 levels away. We don't get intimidated. We still outspeed. This time, Dragon Rage takes me down to 33 HP. But the only 2 Pokemon left are Execute. I'm actually going to go behind a Substitute because what can it do? It goes for Stun Spore. And then I can Metal Claw. It went for Stun Spore again. It doesn't have anything to do to me. And then the final Pokemon is Alakazam, which goes for Future Sight. It's actually not bad considering how weak Psychic is to me, but it's never going to hit me. And I am able to beat Rival Fivel. This is another reason we need to be careful with using Psychic. Substitute, as useful as it is, takes away an attacking move, and type coverage in solo runs is really important. Also, I went and got that Hyper Potion. Pretty good. You can see that Metang is definitely making up a lot of time and is definitely a bit better than Pupitar. Way better than Beldum, too. but not exactly destroying the game. And this is a big problem with the pseudo-legendaries. Very often, it's only the final form which is amazing. Oftentimes, the first and second forms leave a lot to be desired. Except for Gabite. Gabite's actually really good, but hey, we're not doing Gen 4. All right, Giovanni, number 2. We have Substitute, but I just go Metal Claw. It goes Horn Attack. Trying to get that attack boost. I do go Substitute here, just in case. And then I'll finish it off with a Psychic. That's Nidorino. Next is Nidoqueen. I don't think it has a ground move. I go for Psychic. It does have Double Kick, but it's not even enough to knock out my Substitute. I go for Metal Claw. Now, at the very least, even though my Substitute has fainted, I can actually go for again Substitute. And oh, that crit didn't matter. I can go for Psychic and knock it out. This probably is a little bit overkill, but just in case, you can see I've had to get rid of... Oh, interesting. Do I flinch? No. No! Why'd I go for Metal Claw? I should just go for Psychic. You know better. You know better! Because it has really bad special defense. All right. Thankfully, I'm still behind a Substitute, and the final Pokemon is Rhyhorn. I should be able to Psychic that, or maybe even Metal Claw if I get the boost. All right, come on. Come on, Psychic. Come on, Psychic! Yay! Although the crit may have mattered, but yay! First try victory. I played that really badly. But we still won, and that's the important part. Next, we're going to go battle Sabrina, who has a terrible matchup against a Metang. So we don't actually need to go behind a Substitute if we don't want to, but might as well. Tab actually goes for Calm Mind, which could theoretically be not great, and Reflect, which is definitely very not great. Future Sight's not a big deal. I do get the attack boost, which is good. Been trying to get a lot of those. Venomoth, now I can go for Rock Slide, and it doesn't one-shot because of the Reflect, but it does two-shot because of the attack boost. Then Mr. Mime, I take Future Sight, and the Substitute fades. I just go for Rock Slide to try and flinch. That's okay, Reflect is now worn off. I go for Metal Claw, and Alakazam can do basically nothing to me. No Focus Blast, nothing like that. Even though I miss with Metal Claw, Psychic is double resisted, and even though I don't one-shot, this Metal Claw should do enough that eventually, I think Metal Claw does more than Rock Slide. Regardless, it still does. That's how great Alakazam is. Look how much damage it did, even though it's double resisted. But still, pretty easy. Unfortunately, now we actually have a pretty tough matchup. Blaine. And there really isn't a great way around this because we don't have any reliable way of boosting our speed or attack the way we would in Generation 1. So what am I going to do? Well, first things first, let's try with Metang at the level I'm currently at, which is 43 right now. I can't get intimidated, but all I can really do here, I can try Substitute. If Fire Blast misses, that would be great, but if it doesn't, it just knocks out Substitute. We do one-shot Growlithe, but it's the weakest of the 4. Ponyta we one-shot. Okay, that's great, but we're not going to one-shot Rapidash. In fact, we're also not going to outspeed a Pokemon that has the word Rapid in its name, even though it's actually not that fast. All right, there is a way I can just make this battle way less terrible, and that is by just using the rare candies here and now, because while Metang isn't super great, Metagross is. Now, it's funny because I said it evolves at level 50, and that is actually not true. It evolves before level 50. It evolves at level 45. The thing is, at level 50, I can get Meteor Mash early. So I actually kind of misspoke. It wasn't that it evolved at level 50, something I'm sure I've been called out for. It's that I was going to wait till level 50 to evolve it, but since I have 8 rare candies, I'm at level 51, and now I think we're going to do really well. The truth is, I could have maybe done this one gym earlier and saved time, but the extra level could also matter. It's hard to know. Now, this might be controversial, but I think Metagross is widely considered across generations, not counting legendaries, to be one of the most consistently good Pokemon. And you can see why. We outspeed and one-shot Growlithe and Ponyta. That we already did. But now we outspeed and one-shot Rapidash, and that means we're going to outspeed, but maybe not one-shot Arcanine. Oh, we do. Well, that's a bad sign for the rest of the Elite Four. Not that we're there yet. We still got to battle Giovanni. But if I can just destroy Blaine like this, I don't know what's going to get in my way. The only problem is, has it taken too long for Metagross? I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Tyranitar. Once we got it, things were amazing, but was it too little too late? All right, time for Geo 3-0. He only has Rhyhorn, no Rhydon, and I just go for Meteor Mash. Who needs Substitute anymore? I can just actually wait. Maybe I did need it. Oh no, Psychic one-shots. Although relative to my attack, my special attack sucks. Relative to, like, most Pokemon, it's fantastic. Meaning we also one-shot Nidoking. Now, Meteor Mash does have a chance to miss. However, I'm so bulky that Earthquake does basically nothing. And then Dugtrio, I actually outspeed it, which is crazy. So that was easy. The Ground Gym. Now time for Rival 6. This can be a really, really tough battle. I think Substitute makes sense here, just to be safe. So we're going to do it, and it's going to go for Wing Attack. Rock Slide might one-shot, but I want the attack boost. Meteor Mash has a much higher chance of getting that attack boost. And we got it. And one-shot Pidgeot anyway. Now, Charizard does outspeed, but because we're behind the Substitute, and because the attack boost, we one-shot it. Gyarados, I actually think we're going to one-shot now. We do. I think it's just a clean sweep from here on in. Rhyhorn, I'm going to go for Meteor Mash. I miss, but it doesn't even have Earthquake, so Takedown is useless. That's a second attack boost. Execute, I'm going to go for Meteor Mash. What is the accuracy on Meteor Mash? I thought it was 90%, but it's feeling way lower. Anyway, we're going to win this. There's no chance we lose at this point, but kind of crazy. Meteor Mash's accuracy is 90, right? Or, oh, it's 85 in generations 3 through 5. Okay, that's important to learn. Definitely it missing made this a lot more tedious, but it was still pretty easy. And that's going to take me to the Elite Four. Now, looking ahead, we have Ice type, which we have Rock Slide for, Fighting type, which we have Psychic for, Ghost, which is really Poison, which we have Psychic for, Dragon, which could be interesting, and then the Champion, which we basically just beat. Are we going to first try Victory, the Elite Four? Is that something that's even possible in Gen 3? Let's Gen C. Ha ha ha, you're not funny. Or I guess it would be I'm not funny. Why am I talking in the third person? Anyway, Elite Four time! Okay, so we have Lorelee leading with Dugong. I could go behind a Substitute to be safe, and why not? Now it goes for Surf. Actually, whoa, it knocks it out. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Let me go Rock Slide. It doesn't one-shot it, so I'm going to go Substitute here. It doesn't go for Hail. Okay, let's go for Meteor Mash. Oh, I miss. All right, we're done. I don't get the attack boost, and I'm likely not going to one-shot Cloyster. Oh, it went for Hail. Interesting. I'm going to try to Rock Slide the Cloyster. Oh, it flinched. Nice. Now I'm going to miss, and it went for Dive. And, okay, that's one loss. Surprisingly, even though I thought I had a really good matchup here, we have to battle Lorelee again. Okay, so what I learned is do not sub against the Dugong. Cool. So let's go for Rock Slide and try to flinch it. And it goes for Hail. That's okay. Now Meteor Mash. I'm expecting the full restore. Maybe attack boost? No. That's okay. I'm going to go for Psychic and knock it out. All right. Now we have Cloyster. It's likely going to go for Spikes or something. Okay, Protect is fine. I want to see how much Rock Smash does again. All right, Double Protect is fine. The Hail Stop, meaning it's going for Hail, so I'm going to go Substitute. It goes for Hail. Okay, this is interesting. Now I go for Rock Slide. It goes for Spikes, and this should knock it out. Okay, this may be what we need. Oh, right, Slowbro is next. Interesting. Right, I didn't think about this. It's going to be, actually, what do I do here? Wait, this is actually going to be slight issue. Oh, nice. That was a nice crit, but yeah, it's going to knock me out. What do I do against Slowbro? Do I Garrett a Substitute? Gotta think about this. All right, so maybe if I equip a Citrus Berry. I only have a couple of them, but that could work. I go for Meteor Mash. All right, there's the attack boost. Is this what I need to win? Darn it. All right, Safeguard's fine. Okay, sick. Now we have Cloyster. And we're going to go for Psychic. Okay, that's fine. I actually think it has really low special defense, so let's see how much that does. Oh, that's so funny. All right, now it's actually going to heal. So I'm going to go for Substitute. And because of that really clutch special defense drop, well, eventually we're going to get the Psychic to knock it out. Now we have Slowbro at +1. So I go for Rock Slide, and it flinch, and Rock Slide, and Yawn. And Rock Slide. Okay, I think we got this. Lapras, we go for Rock Slide. Nice. Surf. All right, now just don't miss. Just don't miss. No! And a crit! No! Well, that was close. I also forgot to equip the Citrus Berry, which I said it was going to do, so yay for me. I battled Loralee a few more times. I think 4 or 5 times more between this, and I started to kind of come up with a strategy that made sense. First things first is I try to flinch and then go for Meteor Mash, try to up my attack. Then on Cloyster, go for Meteor Mash, again, really trying to up my attack. And if I miss, that sucks, but it's not the end of the world because it likes to go for Protect. Of course, Leftovers would require me to catch 30 Pokemon, so as great as it would be, it's not an option if I want to be fast. Slowbro gets hit by Hail, which is nice, and I'm going to go for Rock Slide. It flinches. That we're going to need at least 1 flinch and or attack boost. Now, Yawn, that would seem to be bad, but you'd be incorrect. Nice crit. That crit actually really mattered. And the reason it doesn't matter is I've given a Lumberry. Yes, because it was going for Yawn. Then I win because I get a lucky crit against Lapras, although I don't think I necessarily needed it. Although Jinx could potentially be a problem. It does require a little bit of luck to get by Loralee, but at least she's the very first trainer. So if I'm going to need to be a little bit inconsistent, let it be against the first and not like Lance, where it's going to be a lot of resetting. All right, try one against Bruno. I think I'm just going to go for Meteor Mash. I don't have as many elixirs as I do in Gen 1, so I didn't use any here, which is fine. Attack was raised. Psychic actually doesn't knock out Onix, but I can here. And now I actually need to be smart because unlike in Gen 1, they have very high special defense. Meteor Mash misses. Rock Tomb can't lower my speed. Psychic is actually still strong enough to knock out Hitmonchan, and that means it'll be strong enough to knock out Hitmonlee. And I'm just going to go, no, come on. All right, well, now after Bulk Up, Meteor Mash is definitely not going to knock it out. But oh yeah, it went for Rock. Why didn't it go for, doesn't it have Cross Chop? Whatever. I think it doesn't realize what Clear Body does. I don't care. Okay, Agatha actually should be really easy. Even in Gen 1, she'd be easy because we have Substitute, although I think you can put things to sleep behind Substitute. Anyway, this is Gen 3. This is going to be pretty easy. I'm going to go for Substitute, and it goes for Double Team. Now, I'm just going to go Psychic and knock it out. Just the safest play, and now I'm at level 56. The next one is Golbat. I'm going to go for Rock Slide since my attack is higher. Okay, this is actually all right. Let's see if Psychic would have done more because she has to heal, and Psychic did do more. All right, my bad. I should have known that. That means I can Psychic Haunter and one-shot it. Arbok can't intimidate me, oh wait, it's Gengar. Whoopsies. Hypnosis can't hit behind a Substitute even though Gengar outspeeds me. And then Arbok can't intimidate me both because I'm Clear Body and behind a Substitute. And we have made it first try to Lance. All right, I'm going to use an Elixir. I'm going to heal. And I'm going to equip one of the Citrus Berries here. Let's see. Lance is very interesting. Let's see how Metagross handles it. Gyarados can't intimidate me. This is huge. I'm going to go for Rock Slide. I miss. Bite does very little. I'm going to go for Rock Slide. I miss. Dragon Rage does very little. And then I get a Rock Slide hit. I'm at half HP. Wait, don't I have the Citrus Berry? Maybe it just hasn't triggered yet? I go Substitute. It goes Thunder Wave. Guess I forgot to equip it. Whoops. Second time I've done that. Or maybe I only had one. Anyway, Meteor Mash destroys Dragonair 1 and Dragonair 2. And that means Aerodactyl... Oh, wait, it's Dragonite. Rock Slide misses. Safeguard is fine. Lot of Rock Slide misses. Rock Slide hits. Outrage isn't enough to knock out my Substitute. I miss again with Rock Slide. What is going on? Well, I beat Dragonite. Thankfully, Aerodactyl doesn't have Earthquake. It doesn't get an Omni Boost or a crit. And we have made it to the champion. And this time I'm going to look. I only had one Citrus Berry. I missed one. Okay, my bad. Anyway, now I'm going to use the full restore. I'm going to use the rare candy. And we beat Rival 6 pretty good. Does that mean we're going to beat the champion even better? I don't know. But let's hope. Okay. The strategy is always the same. Go behind Substitute in order to avoid a Flamethrower, or at least tank it. Then I go for Meteor Mash. It goes for Aerial Ace. I think it's going to heal, so a second Meteor Mash. Let's get that attack up. Not happening here. We get a withdraw into Charizard, which is interesting. because although it's going to go for Fire Blast, as long as I don't miss here, and I don't, we knock it out. So that's Charizard gone. Rhydon is next. I'm going to go for Meteor Mash, and we one-shot it, even without a boost. That's how great I am. Now Pidgeot comes back. Let's go minus Substitute. Aerial Ace, Meteor Mash misses. Aerial Ace, Meteor Mash hits. Still no attack boost. That's okay. Gyarados is going to be a two-shot, that means. Maybe we'll get a flinch. We do! Nice. There goes Gyarados. 2 left, and I think we got this. Reflect is bad, and then we get the attack boost. Full Restore. I think we're actually going to knock it out with this Meteor Mash because of the attack boost. Another attack boost. Executor. Okay, we go Meteor Mash, Sleep Powder, and that's Metagross versus the Elite Four. Level 59, behind a Substitute. It was fantastic. It was shocking that Lorelee was the only trainer that posed even the slightest amount of difficulty. How many Rock Slides did we miss? And we still won on our first try past Lorelee. But the question you're wondering is, how good is Metagross relative to the other Pokemon we've done? Unfortunately for Metagross fans, 519, you can see here I removed Mewtwo from the list because it's kind of unfair. People pointed this out since Mewtwo starts fully evolved. So since we're doing Pokemon as they evolve, the legendaries really shouldn't count. So of the Pokemon that we actually have to evolve, it's in the bottom half. We've done 11 of these runs so far. And shockingly, although we did beat Tyranitar, a lot of you didn't think that would happen. We are worse than pretty much every other Pokemon. In fact, if we were doing this as a tier list, which I'm actually not at this point, it would be in a tier with Tyranitar, Typhlosion, and maybe Sceptile, although there's a huge level difference, but it would clearly be in a different tier than Venusaur and Charizard, which is crazy. But the slow leveling up and how weak the first forms are have really held back the Pseudo-Legendary so far. This is fascinating. I'd love to compare the regional birds to see how they stack up to the Pseudo-Legendaries, but we still have 2 more to go. Both dragons, Bagon, Dratini, Dragonite, Salamence. As we know now, it might be a showdown of Shelgon versus Dragonair. I legitimately have no idea who's going to win, and I'm not even sure which one's going to come out next. If you want to see it, make sure to subscribe. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all with either Dratini or Bagon. Take care.